Greetings. Welcome to this little YouTube live situation. I don't know that anyone's here, but that's not the point. The point is sitting down and doing something. The point is showing up and creating. The point is working. And the point that I'll be speaking on today has a lot to do with why these lives are taking place, and I'll share a little bit more about that in a bit. So for those of you that haven't ever been here before, just watching this video in the future, my name is Jackson Hardin. I'm a personal development coach, I suppose. I do a lot of different kinds of work depending on what I fancy, but I've been coaching and working with people one-on-one and in group settings for a number of years, helping them and to get clear on what it is they want to do with their life, with their time here on this planet, and how to create structures and routines in their life to make that happen. And today, what I want to be talking about is a technique or a strategy that I use personally, and something that I teach people I work with or encourage them to do. We can do this together, kind of in that coaching container. But it's a principle that I want them to walk away with, because it really transforms the way that we engage with life and our goals and our aspirations. And it can be a very powerful. It can be a very powerful way to get leverage on different aspects of your life. So today we're going to be talking about push versus pull and getting out of that grind mode. I know when I first started doing personal development, that notion of grind was so big. Wake up every morning, don't get any sleep. Sleep's not important. We got life to live. You know, the grind, honestly, the grind was so wild for me, or I was in that mindset so heavily that like I had family members pass away, and it was like, in that mindset, it's like, well, how bad do you want it? Are you going to let a little bit of your sibling dying prevent you from going after your goals? It's just insane, that world and that mode. And it took me a while to get out of that line of thinking, that we have to constantly grind things out, and instead, find tools that help, that can help us pull that can pull us towards what it is we want to create in the world, instead of having to get up and push and push and push. Now, I'm not saying that that push doesn't have a place, that it doesn't have a time. It's good to be disciplined. It's good to have the capacity to work through challenges and resistance as it arrives. In fact, it's mandatory. If we don't do that, we're not going to get super far. So having that skill is great. And this is kind of a strategy for adding a little bit of more life and fun and play and excitement into the goals and aspirations that you're working after. So what are we talking about when we're talking about push versus pull? So as I laid out, push is kind of that grind. It's that like discipline aspect of things. Very important for us to develop. Pull, on the other hand, is the momentum, the excitement, the play, the fun. And an analogy or a story or way that I like to explain this, I have a few different ways that we'll go through. But one is to think about a time that you had a flight to catch. You were going on a trip somewhere, and let's do it this way. Actually, think about a time that there's a goal that you set that was going to take work, and the one that comes to mind for me is like going to the gym. Maybe going to the gym is a thing that you have on your task list, or your I'm going to lose weight or whatever, and getting ready for the gym or going to the gym is like a grind, and you don't really want to do it. So doing things like putting your gym clothes on, or signing up for a membership, figuring out your workout routine, like all these things are kind of things you have to discipline yourself into, or like challenge yourself to do. You're like, okay, this week I'm going to sign up. I swear I'm going to sign up. Right. So there's this thing that happens when we're grinding, where like every little step takes our time, takes attention, takes us, it makes us work for it. But when you start to use this concept of pull, it's like having a plane ticket. When you have a plane ticket or a flight booked somewhere, you're not, and it's the night before and you've got to get on that plane. you don't think so much about all the details. You might throw stuff in your bag, get an Uber going, whatever, but it's not every single step of the way generally doesn't take effort the same way that it does if it's something that you don't want to do. So a plane ticket is an excellent example to kind of illustrate this pull energy. You made a commitment to be somewhere at a certain time. You put some money on the line, probably not going to get a refund unless you're one of those weirdos that gets insurance. Actually, I think I started doing that because it does get weird out there sometimes. But because that's on the line, you're probably going to show up and you're probably going to circumvent a lot of those little steps. You're not going to be lost in them so much. So that's a great analogy as to this kind of energy, and hopefully you can differentiate. With that example, it's going to help you differentiate what I'm talking about here. That push versus the pull. So how do we create that in our life? That's what we're going to be talking about. How do we, set goals that way? How do we strategically create pull in our world? I'm going to give you a few more examples, then we'll get into some practices for you to be able to do that in an area that's important to you. Another example that I have, I was working with a client recently, and he was feeling kind of sluggish about just about his work. And he does good work. He does, like mission driven work. He does retreat ceremonies for people. And, it's purpose based. It's, what am I looking for? It's fulfilling work for him. And he loves doing it. And it's what he's meant to do. But it kind of turned into a grind. It's like, okay, I'm going through the motions here. I have to enroll. I have to, book these things, X, Y, and Z. And I shared with him this concept. And so what we did was we created, like, what's the ideal event for you? Like, what would you really love to create? What would be exciting for you on all levels, where even just doing, the enrollment is fun for you? And we were able to come up with this event that would be geared towards, facilitators, other people that are doing good work in the world. And that retreat would be specifically those kinds of people, bringing those kinds of people together. And it was, he's been going ever since, excited. I got a message from him today about some conversations he was having about the event and how other things may be transpiring because of it. And part of the reason other things may transpire is because where he's coming from is a place of excitement and joy and fun and pleasure and play, instead of being like, oh, here comes fall, I need to book out some retreats. So that's an example of pull, right? Creating a goal or aspiration that's so exciting, that's so compelling, that's a little bit out of the comfort zone. I sound stupid when I say that kind of stuff, comfort zone, but it is. It's outside of like what's comfortable, or a little bit outside of what you may even think's possible. There's a little bit of risk. There's a little bit of challenge involved. That's going to help you really show up differently if it's something that you're genuinely excited about. It's going to help you show up to what it takes to create that, and also to your conversations, to your day. I remember a long time ago when I was in such a place, like it was also, I was kind of in that grind state, but like I woke up excited every morning to like, let's go make some moves, make things happen. It's like when I had first started personal training, and then when I was transitioning into coaching, like everything was very exciting and new and fresh, and like I couldn't wait to get out of bed in order to do it. So that's the kind of energy that we're wanting to consciously generate in different areas of our life, right? So when I work with people, a lot of times I talk about, 3 different areas that was developed with this men's community that I was a part of. Just break down life into 3 different areas, right? Self-mastery, your mind, body, spirit, emotions; relationships with yourself, with others, community, with the higher power, with God; and then purpose, your work and purpose, what it is you're here to do. And that can look like different things. How can you create pull in each of those areas of your life? That's the question. How do you create pull in the realm of self-mastery, in the realm of mind, body, spirit? One example could be scheduling a meditation retreat, a Vipassana retreat, a 10-day retreat somewhere. That's going to have you showing up to your practices a lot different than if you are just showing up to practice every day? How do you put skin in the game? It's another element of this. Another example that I like to use is fight competition is a great example of this. I used to train and compete in kickboxing and Muay Thai. And when you put a date on a calendar for 12 weeks out, you start showing up to the gym in a different way. You start eating properly, you sleep well, everything gets focused and dialed in on this date, on this commitment. And you're pulled to train in ways that you generally wouldn't train. You do there's this concept that you'll do in a fight gym, like Shark Tank, where you're in the middle and you just constantly keep getting fresh people coming to spar with you or to fight with you, for however long the coach deems it's necessary. That's a grueling experience. But if you have some skin in the game and some things on the line and people showing up, and you're going to go toe to toe with this dude in front of a lot of people, first of all, you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to get embarrassed. You do want to get the win, right? You're building a career. You're working towards something you enjoy. That's a lot of, it's a high level of commitment to the thing that you're doing. And there's going to be pull there. In a way that there's not going to be pull. You'll go to the gym and you'll train, regularly. But when that date's on the calendar, you're going to compete a little bit differently. So in the realm of fitness, in the realm of your health, in the realm of self-mastery, what is something that you could do to get some skin in the game? What is something that you could do to create some pull in that realm for you? Is there like an event that you could compete in? Is there a retreat that you could go on? Is there, mind, body, spirit, emotions? Maybe you want to put a book out. Maybe there's a deadline or a commitment that you could make in some way that puts skin in the game, right? So in the realm of self-mastery, what's a goal that's important to you? And then, the idea is, how do you create pull out of that? A few other things just in regards to how you create pull, and I've talked about this already a little bit. One is you put something on a calendar. That's a great way to do it. If you have a deadline, a date. What will improve that even more is to make that commitment with someone else, so other people are involved, whether it's a friend that's doing something with you. Maybe you're starting a business together, or maybe he's got a similar goal and you're holding yourself accountable or holding each other accountable. That can create, some more pull instead of just push. The other thing that you want to do to create pull is create that goal that's big, that's ambitious, that's inspiring, that's fun, that's exciting to you. That'll create pull as well. Make it public. If there's a way to make it public, that can be very helpful. It's this notion of burning the ships, getting rid of the other options. That can be very helpful. Now, a note on that. I've done that in a few different areas of my life before. Burn the ships. I used to, when I was building a personal training business, I would not get other work on purpose so that I had to work towards enrolling clients and building that business. And it worked. And then later, when I moved into this coaching field, it didn't work so well. I was showing up in a way that, wasn't super helpful because I needed to eat. So I'm trying to make things happen. And sometimes that came across the wrong way. And it's something I'm always working through as well, is like, how do you show up genuinely and support in this world, in this field where there's also that's your livelihood, right? And so that's part of the reason that I'm doing these lives these days, is to just take the pressure off of the kind of work that I do, but also find a channel to do it. And this live is actually an example of pull, not push. So for me and my business currently, what I want to do is start creating a library of content that I can refer clients to, that I can refer people to. And I'd also like to start creating, and I am going to start creating a community or a group of people that are on the same page here. I've done this a few times in the past with Patreon, but what I didn't do was have something feeding it, which is where these, lives come in, where we can share and explore these concepts. And I can give you practices and whatnot within the community, within the Patreon group, and Q&A and support as you as you apply these to your life. So that's kind of in the works, that's in the making, but I just wanted to point that out because this video is an example of pull that I've created in order to make that thing happen. So where can you create some pull in your life? What about in the realm of, relationships? Maybe you're single or maybe you're dating. Maybe you're married. Is there a way that you can create pull to deepen your relationship with your partner? Something that I would do when I was, in a relationship was try to have a weekly date night, and that pulled us to constantly, be spending that time together one on one versus just kind of letting it go with the wind. So that's one way to do it as well, is to make a consistent commitment to a thing. Which again, this is what this is here. Um, so creating pull, I'm hoping you can see like the impact that this can really have. And I really wanted to leave you with some reflection prompts on how you can do this. We talked about the different areas of your life that you might do it. We talked about self-mastery, relationships, and the realm of purpose and work. So then some questions that you can reflect upon in that regard. Is what is something you'd be very excited to create, build, achieve, or do in each of these realms? And I would take time for each of them. What's something that would be really exciting for you to do in the realm of self mastery? What's something that would really grow you, stretch you, pull you into like that new expression of who you are, that new level of growth for you, or whatever it is that motivates you? That's a big one for me. Is like what's the next level for me? What's exciting? What's fun right now? So if you can sit down and write that out, that's going to be kind of the first step here. And then the next thing is going to be, once you figure out what that is, who can you bring in to this commitment with you? Who can you rally? Is there a friend that has a similar goal or aspiration or thing that they want to do around this same thing? So maybe you compete in martial arts. So maybe the thing for you is to put a fight date on the calendar, and then you have your team, you have your gym, you have your friends that are there. They're going to help pull you through to that date. You don't have to do it by yourself, right? It's public, it's there. So again, what's something you'd be excited about? Who can you bring in on this? And then the last one is, how can you put some skin in the game? Is there a financial commitment? With personal train or getting in shape, another one would be like hiring a trainer. Like that's a different level of commitment than just signing up at Anytime Fitness, right? So in closing, the questions here are, when you're setting a goal, how do I create pull for this goal? So instead of having to grind it out each step of the way, make the first couple steps, the first few things you do as you move towards that, creating a structure that pulls you towards it so that you don't have to grind every single day. I guess the last thing I'll say, the last structure element of creating pull would be routine. Like I was talking about, date nights weekly. You can also have a morning, evening practice that consistently moves you towards that goal. But again, make it a goal that's exciting and fun for you. So if you have any other ideas on how to create pull in your world, pull in your life, share it in the comment section. These are just, some ones that came up for me, but I know that there are probably other ways for us to create this energy, and it'd be fun to see, what other ideas come to mind. And then the other thing to throw in there is, what's a commitment or something fun or exciting that you could do that, that there's a little risk and maybe it seems a little out of reach, but what else are you going to do? Something that's just like easy, right? That gets old after a while, as we talked about. So I appreciate you taking time to check out this video. Again, my name is Jackson, and I'll be building this community. I'll be building this channel. I'll be building more step by step and how to, and kind of practice outlines and whatnot in a Patreon community soon. Stay tuned for that. And I'm very open to sharing these lives on topics that are exciting to you. So if there's a question or a challenge, or something that you're working on or through that you want support around, let me know in the comment section, or message me here, message me on Instagram. You can throw it in the chat, and I can start scheduling out these lives addressing these things that are specific to what you have going on. So again, thanks for tuning in. My name is Jackson, and if you know someone that could benefit from this live here, this video, then share it with them. All right, till next time.